As a surgeon with more than 40 years inside operating rooms, trauma units, and senior rehabilitation centers, I can tell you this. Nighttime cortisol is one of the most dangerous and underestimated forces, destroying sleep, clarity, and long-term brain health. When cortisol stays high at night, your brain cannot repair itself, cannot clean out toxins, cannot stabilize mood chemistry, and cannot restore the pathways that protect your memory. You wake up exhausted. You wake up foggy. You wake up older. Cortisol is quietly destroying the health of millions of seniors without them ever realizing it. Studies now show that adults over 65 often go to bed with cortisol levels 2 to 3 times higher than what the brain can safely handle during sleep, and this does more than make you stressed. High nighttime cortisol blocks memory formation, shrinks the hippocampus, damages neurons, raises nighttime blood pressure, accelerates inflammation, disrupts deep sleep, and speeds up cognitive decline. In one major clinical study, seniors with elevated nighttime cortisol experienced nearly 30% faster decline in memory and thinking, even if they felt calm or not stressed during the day. But the part almost no one knows is the part that gives me hope. Nighttime cortisol can be lowered. Deep sleep can be restored. Memory pathways can heal. You do not need pills, supplements, or expensive devices. The brain responds dramatically to 6 very specific bedtime habits that shift it from a stress pattern into a healing pattern. In this video, we will reveal the 6 habits every senior over 65 should do before bed to lower cortisol and improve memory, and stick around because number 2 can reset nighttime stress chemistry in a way modern medicine rarely sees. All supporting studies are listed in the description. Before we dive in, here's a quick question. How old are you? Tell us in the comments. We're reading and replying personally. Now, without any further delay, let's begin with number 6. And this first habit might surprise you because almost no senior realizes how instantly it lowers nighttime stress. Number 6. Cool your body down 90 minutes before bed. Your body temperature plays a far more critical role in sleep quality than most people realize, especially after the age of 65. Research from the Stanford Center for Sleep Sciences revealed that core body temperature needs to drop by approximately 2 to 3 degrees Fahrenheit for your brain to initiate deep sleep stages. Here is the problem. As we age, our internal thermostat becomes less efficient at regulating temperature during the night. A study published in the journal Sleep Medicine found that older adults have significantly reduced ability to cool down naturally before bed, which directly interferes with the release of melatonin and the suppression of cortisol. When your body stays too warm, cortisol levels remain elevated throughout the night, preventing you from entering those restorative deep sleep phases where memory consolidation happens. The science behind this is actually quite fascinating. Your hypothalamus, which is the tiny region in your brain that controls temperature, sends signals to your blood vessels to dilate when it is time to sleep. This allows heat to escape through your hands and feet, cooling your core. In younger adults, this happens automatically. But researchers at the University of Pittsburgh found that this cooling mechanism slows down significantly after 60, meaning your brain never receives the proper temperature signal to transition into deep sleep. This is why you might notice that you sleep poorly on warm nights or wake up feeling unrested even after 8 hours in bed. To maximize the benefits of temperature regulation, you want to start preparing your body about 90 minutes before your intended bedtime. Taking a warm bath or shower might sound counterintuitive, but it is actually one of the most effective ways to trigger your natural cooling response. When you step out of the warm water, your blood vessels dilate and release heat rapidly, causing your core temperature to drop faster than it would naturally. A study from the University of Texas found that a warm bath lasting just 10 to 15 minutes, taken 1 to 2 hours before bed, helped participants fall asleep an average of 10 minutes faster and improved their deep sleep quality by nearly 36%. You also want to keep your bedroom temperature between 60 and 67 degrees Fahrenheit, which researchers consistently identify as the optimal range for deep sleep. Consider using breathable cotton or bamboo sheets, and if you sleep with a partner who prefers warmer conditions, separate blankets can be a simple solution. Some people find that wearing light socks to bed actually helps because warming the feet causes blood vessels to dilate, which paradoxically helps release heat from your core more efficiently. The key is consistency. Your brain learns to associate these temperature cues with sleep, making the transition easier over time. Now that you understand how cooling your body sets the stage for deep sleep, let us move to number 5, which addresses something happening in your gut that directly affects your brain. Before we move on, tap that like button and subscribe. The most shocking part is still coming. Number 5. Stop eating 3 hours before your bedtime. What you eat matters, but when you stop eating might matter even more for your cortisol levels and memory function during sleep. Research from the Salk Institute for Biological Studies found that late-night eating disrupts your circadian rhythm in ways that keep cortisol elevated for hours after you fall asleep. Your digestive system follows its own internal clock, and when you eat too close to bedtime, you are essentially forcing your body to perform an energy-intensive process at the exact time it should be winding down. A study published in the Journal of Clinical Endocrinology and Metabolism discovered that participants who ate within 3 hours of bedtime had cortisol levels that were 23% higher during the first half of the night compared to those who finished eating earlier. This matters tremendously for memory because the first few hours of sleep are when your brain does its most important housekeeping work. During deep sleep, your glymphatic system, which is essentially your brain's waste removal network, flushes out toxins and metabolic byproducts that accumulate during the day. When cortisol stays high because your body is busy digesting food, this cleaning process gets disrupted. Researchers at the University of Rochester found that impaired glymphatic function is directly linked to the buildup of beta-amyloid plaques, which are the protein deposits associated with cognitive decline and memory problems. By simply adjusting your eating schedule, you give your brain the best possible environment to clear out these harmful substances while you sleep. To get the maximum benefit from this habit, aim to finish your last meal at least 3 hours before you plan to go to bed. If you typically sleep at 10 o'clock, your last food should be consumed by 7. This does not mean you need to go to bed hungry, which can actually raise cortisol levels on its own. Instead, focus on having a satisfying dinner that includes protein and healthy fats to keep you full throughout the night. If you absolutely must have something closer to bedtime, keep it very light and easily digestible, such as a small handful of nuts or a few slices of turkey. Avoid anything high in sugar or refined carbohydrates, as these cause blood sugar spikes that trigger cortisol release. Also steer clear of spicy or acidic foods that can cause heartburn when you lie down. The goal is to have your digestive system essentially finished with its work by the time your head hits the pillow, allowing your body to fully focus on sleep and memory consolidation. With your eating schedule optimized, the next habit addresses something you might be doing every evening without realizing how much it is sabotaging your sleep. Number 4. Dim all lights and block blue light 2 hours before sleep. The artificial light in your home is waging a silent war against your sleep hormones, and this battle becomes even more difficult to win after 65. Research from Harvard Medical School demonstrated that exposure to bright light in the evening suppresses melatonin production by up to 50%, while simultaneously keeping cortisol levels elevated well past their natural decline time. What makes this particularly problematic for older adults is that melatonin production already decreases significantly with age. A study in the Journal of Pineal Research found that adults over 65 produce only half the melatonin they did in their 30s, meaning any further suppression from artificial light can be devastating for sleep quality. Blue light from screens is especially problematic because it mimics the wavelengths of natural daylight. Your brain interprets this blue light as a signal that it is still daytime, which triggers alertness hormones and delays the natural wind-down process. Researchers at Brigham and Women's Hospital conducted a study where participants used tablets before bed for 5 consecutive nights. The results showed that it took them an average of 10 minutes longer to fall asleep, they had significantly less REM sleep, and they felt more tired the next morning, even after sleeping the same number of hours. For older adults who already struggle with sleep architecture changes, this added disruption can mean the difference between waking up refreshed and waking up feeling like you barely slept at all. Creating a light-friendly evening environment requires some planning, but is absolutely worth the effort. About 2 hours before bed, begin dimming the lights throughout your home. Switch from overhead lighting to table lamps, or use dimmer switches if you have them. Replace any bright white bulbs in your bedroom and bathroom with warmer, amber-toned bulbs that emit less blue light. If you use a computer, tablet, or smartphone in the evening, enable the night mode or blue light filter, setting that shifts the screen to warmer colors. Even better, consider investing in a pair of blue light blocking glasses that you can wear during the last 2 hours of your day. A study from the University of Toronto found that participants who wore amber-tinted glasses for 3 hours before bed produced significantly more melatonin and reported better sleep quality than those who did not. Make sure your bedroom is as dark as possible when you actually go to sleep by using blackout curtains or wearing a comfortable sleep mask. Even small amounts of light from electronics or street lamps can interfere with your sleep cycles throughout the night. Now that your light environment is working with your biology instead of against it, let us talk about a breathing technique that directly targets your cortisol levels. Number 3. Practice slow, deep breathing for 10 minutes before sleep. Your breath is one of the most powerful tools you have for controlling cortisol, and it is completely free and available to you every single night. Research from Stanford University School of Medicine found that slow, controlled breathing activates the parasympathetic nervous system, which is the branch of your nervous system responsible for rest and relaxation. When you breathe slowly and deeply, you send a direct signal to your brain that you are safe and that it is okay to lower cortisol production. A study published in the journal Frontiers in Psychology showed that just 5 minutes of slow breathing reduced cortisol levels by an average of 15% in participants over 60. When extended to 10 minutes, the reduction was even more significant, and the calming effects lasted well into the first sleep cycle. The reason breathing works so effectively has to do with something called the vagus nerve, which runs from your brainstem through your chest and into your abdomen. This nerve is like a communication highway between your body and brain, and when you breathe slowly, you stimulate the vagus nerve in a way that tells your brain to shift out of stress mode. For older adults, this is particularly important because the stress response tends to stay activated longer as we age. Your body becomes less efficient at returning to a calm state after stress, which means cortisol can remain elevated for hours or even days after a stressful event. Regular breathing practice before bed helps train your nervous system to shift into relaxation mode more quickly and completely. The most effective technique for lowering cortisol before sleep involves breathing in a specific rhythm that maximizes vagal stimulation. Start by finding a comfortable position, either sitting up slightly propped with pillows or lying flat on your back. Close your eyes and begin breathing in through your nose for a count of 4 seconds. Hold that breath gently for a count of 4 seconds. Then exhale slowly through your mouth for a count of 6 to 8 seconds. The key is making your exhale longer than your inhale, as this is what activates the parasympathetic response most strongly. Continue this pattern for 10 full minutes, keeping your attention focused on the sensation of your breath moving in and out. If your mind wanders to worries or tomorrow's to-do list, gently bring it back to your breathing without judgment. Some people find it helpful to place one hand on their chest and one on their belly to ensure they are breathing deeply into their diaphragm, rather than taking shallow chest breaths. Over time, this practice becomes easier and more automatic, and many people find that simply beginning the breathing pattern triggers an immediate sense of calm because their brain has learned to associate it with relaxation. Breathing sets the foundation, but the next habit takes relaxation to an even deeper level by engaging your body's natural tension release mechanism. Number 2. Release physical tension using progressive muscle relaxation. Your muscles hold on to stress in ways you might not even notice until you consciously release it, and this hidden tension keeps your cortisol elevated throughout the night. Research from the American Psychological Association has shown that progressive muscle relaxation, which involves systematically tensing and then releasing different muscle groups, reduces cortisol levels by up to 25% when practiced before bed. A study conducted at the University of Massachusetts found that older adults who practiced this technique for just 15 minutes before sleep experienced significantly deeper sleep and reported feeling more mentally clear the following morning. The connection between physical tension and cortisol is direct. When your muscles are tight, they send signals to your brain that you are in a state of readiness or potential danger, which keeps stress hormones circulating. What makes progressive muscle relaxation particularly effective for memory is its impact on sleep architecture. Researchers at the University of Arizona discovered that participants who practiced this technique before bed spent more time in slow-wave sleep, which is the deepest phase of sleep where memory consolidation primarily occurs. During slow-wave sleep, your brain replays the information it encountered during the day and transfers it from short-term to long-term storage. When muscle tension keeps you in lighter sleep phases, this transfer process gets interrupted or shortened. By releasing physical tension before you even get into bed, you create the conditions for your brain to do its memory work unimpeded. To practice progressive muscle relaxation, you will move through each major muscle group in your body one at a time. Start by lying down in your bed or on a comfortable surface about 15 minutes before you want to sleep. Begin with your feet by curling your toes tightly for about 5 seconds, then releasing completely and noticing the sensation of relaxation for 15 to 20 seconds before moving on. Next, flex your calf muscles by pointing your toes toward your shins, hold for 5 seconds, then release. Continue moving upward through your thighs, your buttocks, your stomach, your chest, your hands, your forearms, your upper arms, your shoulders, your neck, and finally your face, including your jaw and forehead. For each muscle group, the tension should be firm but not painful, and the release should be complete and sudden. Pay attention to the contrast between the feeling of tension and the feeling of relaxation, as this awareness is part of what trains your nervous system to let go of stress. By the time you finish the full sequence, you should feel noticeably heavier and more relaxed. Many people find they fall asleep before even completing the sequence, which is perfectly fine. The technique works by teaching your body that it is safe to fully let go, something that becomes increasingly difficult as we age unless we actively practice it. Now we arrive at the most powerful habit of all, the one that research shows can dramatically improve memory consolidation while you sleep. Number 1. Write down tomorrow's worries and 3 gratitudes before bed. This final habit might seem simple, but the science behind it is extraordinary and explains why researchers at Johns Hopkins University called it one of the most effective natural interventions for improving sleep quality and memory in older adults. The act of writing before bed works on 2 powerful mechanisms simultaneously. First, it empties your mind of the worrying thoughts that would otherwise keep cortisol elevated throughout the night. Second, when you specifically write gratitudes, it shifts your brain into a positive emotional state that promotes the release of oxytocin and serotonin, hormones that directly counteract cortisol's negative effects on memory. A study published in the Journal of Experimental Psychology found that participants who spent just 5 minutes writing a to-do list for the following day fell asleep 9 minutes faster and had better sleep quality than those who wrote about completed tasks or did not write at all. The impact on memory is where this habit truly shines. Research from the Greater Good Science Center at UC Berkeley found that people who practiced gratitude writing before bed showed improved memory recall by up to 68% compared to control groups. This happens because gratitude activates regions of the brain associated with learning and memory formation, essentially priming your brain for the consolidation work it will do during sleep. Additionally, by writing down tomorrow's worries and tasks, you are telling your brain that these items have been captured and do not need to be held in active memory. This frees up cognitive resources that would otherwise be used maintaining anxious thoughts, allowing more capacity for memory processing during sleep. For older adults especially, this cognitive unburdening is crucial because working memory capacity naturally decreases with age. To practice this habit effectively, keep a notebook and pen on your bedside table so it becomes part of your nightly ritual. About 20 minutes before you plan to sleep, after you have completed the other habits on this list, sit comfortably with your notebook and begin writing. Start with whatever is on your mind about tomorrow. Write down any tasks you need to accomplish, any appointments you need to remember, any worries or concerns that are nagging at you. Be specific and get everything out of your head and onto the paper. This typically takes about 3 to 5 minutes and should feel like you are emptying a container. Once you have captured tomorrow's concerns, turn to a fresh section and write down 3 things you are grateful for from today. These do not need to be major life events. They can be as simple as a good cup of coffee, a pleasant conversation, the feel of sunshine on your face, or a moment when something made you smile. The key is specificity and genuine feeling. Instead of writing something vague like being grateful for family, write something specific like being grateful that your daughter called to share good news about her promotion. This specificity activates your memory of the positive experience and generates the emotional response that triggers beneficial hormone release. After completing your gratitude list, close your notebook and set it aside, symbolically closing the chapter on today and preparing your mind for restorative sleep. You now have 6 powerful, science-backed habits that can transform your nights and protect your memory as you age. Remember that consistency matters more than perfection. Start with 1 or 2 habits that feel most manageable and build from there. Cool your body down 90 minutes before bed, stop eating 3 hours before sleep, dim your lights and block blue light 2 hours before bed, practice slow deep breathing for 10 minutes, release physical tension through progressive muscle relaxation, and write down tomorrow's worries along with 3 gratitudes. If you found this information helpful and want to learn more about protecting your brain health and living your best life after 65, please subscribe to this channel and hit the notification bell so you never miss a new video. We release new research-backed content every week designed specifically for adults who want to age with vitality and mental clarity. Thank you so much for watching.